Welcome everyone. On the Wednesday of each week we reflect on the second reading from this past Sunday. That is from the second letter of the Corinthians. So in the Connections book, in your daily personal prayer guide on Wednesday, there's some bullets that at least give a background to the second reading, and here they are. This is week 6 in an 8-week series from St. Paul's second letter to the Corinthians. Paul says that the love of Christ impels him and motivates him in his apostolic labors. What else? Paul says that one man, Jesus, died on the cross, and everybody who believes in him also has, in a sense, died through him. And just as Jesus will be raised from the dead, he will raise from the dead everybody who believes in him, and because one person died, all will be saved. Because of this, people should no longer live for themselves. They should live for others. Jesus lived for others. Paul says that we should no longer judge other people using human standards. Okay? We should be beyond that. We should no longer be judgmental. And then Paul ends saying that the redemptive activity of Jesus makes everything new. Okay, so there are lots of different things pressed into this short reading. So, a reading from St. Paul's second letter to the Corinthians. Brothers and sisters, the love of Christ impels us. Once we have come to the conviction that one died for all, therefore all have died to sin, and in a sense they've all died with Christ. He indeed died for all, so that those who live might no longer live for themselves, but for him who for their sake died and was raised from the dead. Consequently, from now on, we regard no one according to the flesh. We don't use human standards to judge people, or standards of the flesh. We use God's standards. Even if we once knew Christ according to the flesh, yet now we know him so no longer. Not quite sure what that means, that we once knew Christ according to the flesh. Maybe they had, this is Paul and some other people, maybe they had an intellectual knowledge of Christ, or just a human knowledge of Christ. Maybe Paul knew about Christ when Christ was alive. We don't know what that means. But now, Paul and Christians know Jesus Christ in the Spirit, not just through human knowledge. So anyway, he continues. So whoever is in Christ is a new creation. Paul rarely uses the word Christian. He may use it just a couple of times. Paul uses this phrase, in Christ. A person isn't a Christian, a person is in Christ. This is Paul's language. This is one of his most common phrases and one of his most common themes, in Christ. So whoever is in Christ is a new creation. The old things have passed away. Behold, new things have come. So, we've been reading Paul's letter for 6 weeks. We have 2 more weeks of it. Again, if you're in the Connections program, we meet on Tuesday at 7 o'clock in the library in St. Joe's. So if you're watching this and you're in the program, I encourage you to read out loud and then silently the second reading and journal on it and see how it may relate to your life. If people are watching this and they're not in the program, I'd encourage you to reread the readings and also, find some time and space in your busy days to journal on these writings that we hear throughout the week and that we hear on Sunday. God bless, and on Thursday and Friday we're going to be taking a look at the Gospel.